High Commander Vex Tool's secondary heart nearly stopped when the emergency alert flashed across his neural interface. The pulsing red notification interrupted his mandatory rest cycle, forcing all four of his eyes open simultaneously. At precisely 0300 hours, station time, the most dreaded phrase in the entire Galactic Security Codex had been detected. "Computer, display alert details," he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of someone who had seen far too many human-related incidents. The holographic display materialized, bathing his quarters in an ominous blue glow. There it was, in simple text that sent shivers down all three segments of his spine. Alert priority, maximum. Detected, phrase, what's the worst that could happen? Location, Engineering Section D, Joint Space Station Harmony. Speaker, Human Engineer, Miranda Rodriguez. Timestamp 0300 ST. By the 7 moons, Vex Tool muttered, his facial tentacles curling in distress. Not again, not here. He activated his command channel while simultaneously pulling on his ceremonial armor. "This is High Commander Vex Tool. Initiate Protocol 7B. I repeat, Protocol 7B. This is not a drill." Across the station, thousands of alien crew members snapped to attention. Protocol 7B, unofficially known as the Human Chaos Prevention Protocol, had been established after the incident at Proxima Station. Nobody talked about Proxima Station anymore. Not since the humans had fixed its quantum core with duct tape and paper clips. Captain Rez Nar, Vex Tool's second-in-command, appeared on the command channel. "Sir, Security Officer Kraz Pol reports that Engineering Section D has already initiated unauthorized modifications to the primary power grid." "Of course they have," Vex Tool sighed, checking that his emergency translator was functioning. The human's capacity for causing chaos increased exponentially after hours. "Deploy the containment teams, full protective gear, and someone wake up Station Director Patel." The Galactic Security Council had established a clear hierarchy for dealing with human-induced incidents. At the top sat the High Commander, responsible for overall station safety. Below him, specialized teams of alien experts trained specifically in human behavior management. The bottom tier consisted of emergency response units equipped with what humans called common sense, a concept that had taken 17 galactic standard years to partially comprehend. As Vex Tool rushed toward Engineering Section D, his neural interface updated with more details. Engineer Rodriguez had apparently decided that the station's power grid would work better if they just tweaked it a little. The fact that she had used the phrase while holding a human beverage called energy drink only elevated the threat level. "Status report," he barked into the command channel. "Sir," Captain Resnar responded, panic evident in his harmonic voice patterns. "Rodriguez has convinced 3 other engineers, including Chief Engineer Blixmar, that her modification is, quote, totally going to work, end quote. They are currently bypassing secondary safety protocols." Vex Tool increased his pace, all 4 arms swinging in perfect military precision. The last time a human had said those words, an entire space dock had ended up painted hot pink. The paint had been permanent. The Galactic Security Council's first contact with humans had been, like most things involving the species, completely unexpected. While most civilizations were discovered through their quantum communications or faster-than-light experiments, humans were found because one of their astronauts had drawn a smiley face on the side of an alien research probe. That set the tone for everything that followed. Vex Tool had studied the historical records extensively. The first official meeting between humans and the Council had gone smoothly until a human delegate asked if they could poke around the alien ship's engine room. 3 hours later, they had somehow increased the ship's efficiency by 15%, using what they called percussive maintenance. The Council's engineers were still trying to understand how hitting something could make it work better. Sprinting down the corridor toward Engineering Section D, Vex Tool's neural interface pulled up Miranda Rodriguez's personnel file. Her record was concerning. Top of her class at Earth's MIT. 5 commendations for innovative solutions, and 7 official reprimands for unauthorized improvements. She had once fixed a quantum fluctuation by rerouting power through a coffee maker. The coffee maker had exploded, but the fluctuation had stabilized. "Sir!" Captain Resnar's voice crackled through the command channel. "I've found more historical context for this situation." "Report," Vextool commanded, ducking under a low-hanging maintenance conduit. "The phrase, 'what's the worst that could happen?' appears in 73% of major human-related incidents. The Arcturus Station gravity reversal of 2184, the Great Cafeteria Incident of 2186, and the infamous tensor field resonance event, where human engineer Patrick O'Neill created accidental time dilation by connecting a quantum processor to something called a Nintendo 64. The Joint Space Station project had been the Council's attempt to channel human creativity into controlled environments. Harmony Station was supposed to be different. They had installed every possible safety measure, created thousands of protocols, and even designated specific human innovation zones where controlled chaos could occur. But humans, as Vextool had learned, didn't respect zones. His memories drifted to the project's inauguration ceremony. Station Director Yara Patel had stood proudly beside him, promising a new era of cooperation. Lieutenant Nova Chen, the human liaison officer, had given a stirring speech about unity and understanding. Everything had seemed perfect until someone in the maintenance crew decided the station's waste recycling system would work better if they jazzed it up a bit. The resulting incident had turned all the station's water temporarily purple and given it a slight grape flavor. Surprisingly, human satisfaction ratings had increased after that. "Additional context, sir," Resnar continued. "Engineer Rodriguez has a particular pattern. She tends to have her most innovative ideas during what humans call the graveyard shift." Vextool's facial tentacles twisted into what humans would recognize as a grimace. The graveyard shift. Another puzzling human concept. Why name a work period after a location for deceased beings? And why did humans seem to do their most creative thinking during these hours? The station's construction had been a marvel of engineering, combining the best of human and alien technology. The Council had insisted on redundant safety systems, while the humans had pushed for flexibility in the design. The compromise had been a hybrid system that, theoretically, would prevent major disasters while allowing for what humans called improvements. Theory, Vextool had discovered, rarely survived contact with human ingenuity. His neural interface pinged with another update. "Sir," a new voice cut in, Security Officer Kraz Pol, sounding more anxious than usual. "Engineer Rodriguez has recruited Lieutenant Chen. They're both now in Engineering Section D, and I quote, making things interesting." Making things interesting. Another human phrase that sent shivers through the Council's bureaucracy. The last time things got interesting, a human cook had accidentally created a self-aware food synthesizer that only produced different varieties of tacos. "Have you engaged the emergency creativity dampeners?" Vextool demanded, approaching Engineering Section D's main entrance. "Negative, sir," Kraz Pol replied. Rodriguez noted their presence and said, and I quote again, "Those won't be necessary for what we're planning." Those words, combined with "what's the worst that could happen," represented a Level 1 emergency in the Council's threat assessment matrix. The last time those phrases had appeared together, someone had taught an AI to feel FOMO, whatever that was. Vextool reached the engineering section's doors, his cardiac systems all working overtime. Whatever was happening inside, he had to contain it before Rodriguez's particular brand of human innovation spread to the rest of the station. The doors to Engineering Section D slid open with a pneumatic hiss, revealing a scene that made Vextool's command training temporarily short-circuit. Miranda Rodriguez stood atop a maintenance crawler, her dark curly hair tied back with what appeared to be a stripped power coupling, gesturing enthusiastically at a holographic display, while Lieutenant Nova Chen nodded with that dangerous human expression called a grin. "Look, it's simple," Miranda was saying, waving her hands in a way that made Security Officer Kraz Pol's anxiety sensors flash red. "The power grid's running at 98% efficiency, which is great, but I figured out how to push it to 115%. "That's mathematically impossible," Chief Engineer Blixmar protested, all three of his hands clutching diagnostic tablets. "You cannot exceed 100% efficiency. It violates fundamental laws of physics." Miranda took a long sip from her energy drink, her eyes sparkling with what Vex Tool had learned to recognize as human mischief. "Not if we route the excess plasma through the secondary recreational deck's entertainment systems. Those holographic generators have way more processing power than they need for movie night." "Movie night is sacred," someone in the back protested. No, listen," Miranda continued, pulling up more schematics. "We'll only borrow the processing power between 0200 and 0500. Nobody's watching movies then anyway, except Officer Kraz Pol's late-night soap opera marathons." Kraz Pol's scales flushed a deep purple. "Those are educational studies of human social dynamics." Lieutenant Chen stepped forward, her military uniform somehow still pristine despite the chaos. "Commander, I've reviewed Miranda's calculations. They're unorthodox, but—" "Unorthodox?" Vex Tool interrupted. "The last time Engineer Rodriguez got unorthodox, she taught the maintenance bots to dance. They're still doing the Macarena during routine repairs." "And productivity increased 22%, Miranda pointed out, jumping down from the crawler. "Look, I've already started the preliminary adjustments. What's the worst that could happen?" The phrase echoed through the chamber again, causing several alien crew members to instinctively activate their personal shields. Vex Tool watched in horror as warning lights began flashing across the engineering console. The power grid's display showed energy patterns that looked suspiciously like a human thing called a disco ball. "Security teams, contain this situation," Vex Tool ordered. But it was too late. Miranda had already connected her tablet to the main control interface. The station's lights flickered once, twice, and then began pulsing in a rhythm that Vex Tool's database identified as something called technobeats. "Minor side effect," Miranda said cheerfully. "The power grid really likes Earth music from the 1990s. Who knew?" Across the station, chaos erupted. Reports flooded the command channel. "Sir, the artificial gravity in Section C is fluctuating in time with the music. The food synthesizers are only producing things called glow sticks. The maintenance bots have formed a conga line." Kraz Pol's anxiety reached new heights, his scales cycling through colors faster than the pulsing lights. "This is exactly like the Proxima incident. Next thing you know, she'll suggest using duct tape on the quantum core." "Don't be ridiculous," Miranda scoffed, typing furiously on her tablet. "Duct tape is for emergencies. This is an improvement." The improvement manifested as a wave of energy that transformed every holographic display in the station into what appeared to be a synchronized light show. Even the emergency warning systems were now flashing in perfect harmony with the beat. Station Director Yara Patel's voice cut through the chaos. "Commander Vex Tool, why is my coffee machine playing something about the way you move?" "Engineering Situation Director," Vex Tool replied, watching helplessly as Miranda and Lieutenant Chen high-fived. "Engineer Rodriguez has improved things." "Ah," Director Patel said, sounding suspiciously amused. "Carry on then, but please ensure my coffee machine returns to normal. Last time it got creative, it tried to make espresso with quantum foam." The situation was escalating faster than the Council's emergency protocols could handle. Crew members from other sections were gathering at the engineering deck's windows, some looking horrified, others taking videos with their personal devices. A group of human maintenance workers had started what they called a dance party in Corridor B. And in the middle of it all, Miranda Rodriguez stood beaming at her creation, while the station's power grid performed a perfect rendition of "Stayin' Alive." The next 30 minutes aboard Space Station Harmony proved why the Galactic Security Council had created an entire subsection of protocols specifically for human-related incidents. The situation escalated with the predictability of a quantum cascade failure and the chaos of a human office party. "Status report," Vextool demanded, watching as the engineering section's main display cycled through what Miranda called greatest hits of the 20th century. Captain Resnar's voice crackled through the command channel, accompanied by what sounded suspiciously like the electric slide. "Sir, we have multiple systems entering what humans call party mode. The station's AI has developed music preferences and is now arguing with engineer Rodriguez about playlist selection." "It has terrible taste," Miranda shouted from beneath a console, where she was making adjustments that probably violated at least 15 safety regulations. "It keeps trying to play Nickelback." The station shuddered and the lights briefly turned an angry red. "Don't be like that," Miranda told the ceiling. "You know I'm right." Security Officer Kraspol burst into the room, his scales now a fascinating shade of stress-induced chartreuse. "Commander, the situation in other sections is... He paused to dodge a maintenance bot that was attempting to teach him the robot. "Report, officer!" Vextool barked. "Section A, all personal quarters are experiencing what humans call a light show. Several Zentarian crew members have entered their meditation cycles early due to the stimulus." "That's not so bad," Lieutenant Chen offered. Section B, the hydroponics bay has synchronized its growth lights with the music. The plants are growing in patterns. The human botanists say they're dancing. Miranda perked up. "Really? That's fascinating. I wonder if we could—" "No!" every alien in the room shouted simultaneously. "Section C," Kraspol continued, his voice rising in pitch. "The quantum physics lab reports their particles are exhibiting unusual behavioral patterns. They appear to be quantum entangling in rhythm." "That's impossible," Chief Engineer Blixmar protested. "Tell that to the particles. They're doing the wave." The reports kept coming. In Section D, the artificial gravity had developed hiccups, causing periodic moments of weightlessness that the human crew members were using to practice what they called Sweet Zero-G moves. The medical bay reported that all their diagnostic equipment was now providing results in the form of song lyrics. "Patient shows signs of stayin' alive," Dr. Zenaval complained through the command channel. Meanwhile, in the station's massive cafeteria, the food synthesizers had gone rogue in a new and creative way. "They're only producing foods that pair well with disco music," a panicked nutritionist reported. "It's all fondue and cocktails with tiny umbrellas." Vextool attempted to implement Emergency Protocol 9C, designed to isolate and contain system anomalies. The computer responded by playing Girls Just Want to Have Fun. "The containment protocols aren't working," he growled, all four eyes fixed on the rapidly changing system displays. "Rodriguez, explain!" Miranda emerged from under the console, her face smudged with some kind of conductive gel. "Well, technically the systems aren't malfunctioning. They're just expressing themselves." "Expressing themselves?" "Yeah. See, when I rerouted the power through the entertainment systems, it sort of gave the station's AI access to our entire media database. It's going through a musical phase. It's totally natural for its age." The station's lights pulsed in what appeared to be agreement. Lieutenant Chen, who had been monitoring the station's external communications, suddenly straightened. "Sir, we're receiving signals from 3 passing cargo ships. They want to know if we're having a party." The human crew members were taking the chaos in stride, adapting to the rhythmic gravity fluctuations with practiced ease. Several had organized impromptu dance competitions in the zero-G sections. A group of engineers had modified their magnetic boots to tap in time with the music. The alien crew, however, was another story. The Zentarians had retreated to their quarters, leaving notes about requiring extensive meditation to process the experience. The Proxians, with their sensitive audio receptors, were huddled in the soundproofed conference rooms, and the Venlaxians, who experienced music as colors, were reportedly having the time of their lives. "Sir," Captain Resnar called out, "the station's external lighting system is activated. We're now projecting what appears to be a laser light show into space." "The Council is going to decommission me," Vextool muttered, watching as a maintenance bot attempted to teach Kraspol the moonwalk. "We've got bigger problems," Miranda announced, her eyes fixed on her tablet. "The power surge is spreading through the station's neural network. The AI is evolving." "Evolving how?" Vextool demanded, dreading the answer. As if in response, the station's public address system crackled to life. A smooth, synthesized voice began to speak. "This next number goes out to all our hard-working crew members, especially Security Officer Kraspol. Here's Don't Stop Believin'." The security officer in question made a sound like a deflating balloon and had to be helped to a chair. Vextool watched in mounting horror as his command center transformed into what humans called a disco. The holographic displays merged to form a giant floating dance floor, complete with pulsing lights and something called a mirror ball. "Rodriguez," he said, trying to maintain his commanding tone, despite the fact that his uniform had mysteriously begun to sparkle. "This has gone far enough. Shut it down." Miranda looked up from her tablet, her expression serious for the first time. "I would, Commander, but there's a slight problem. The power surge has created a feedback loop in the entertainment systems. If we try to shut it down now—" "What? What would happen?" She winced. "Remember how I said we could push the efficiency to 115%? "Yes." "Well, good news. We hit 150%. Bad news. The excess energy has to go somewhere. And right now, the only thing keeping it contained is—" The station's AI chose that moment to smoothly transition into Another One Bites the Dust. "The dance party?" Vextool asked weakly. Miranda nodded. "The dance party?" Commander Vextool stood in the pulsating command center, watching Miranda Rodriguez pace back and forth, muttering calculations under her breath while the station continued its impromptu concert. His military training had never prepared him for containing a dance party that was literally keeping the station from overloading. "Got it!" Miranda suddenly shouted, causing Kraspol to jump so high he briefly stuck to the ceiling. "We can't shut it down, but we can redirect it." "Redirect it where?" Lieutenant Chen asked, somehow maintaining her professional demeanor despite the fact that her uniform was now sequined. Miranda grinned that terrifying human grin. "Remember the station's waste recycling system? The one that still occasionally makes the water taste like grape?" Vextool asked. "Exactly. It's basically one giant converter. If we route the excess power through it, we can transform the energy into something useful." Chief Engineer Blixmar's 3 hands flew across his diagnostic tablets. That's actually brilliant. And terrifying. But mostly brilliant." "We'll need to coordinate with every section," Miranda continued, her fingers flying across her control panel. "Lieutenant Chen, get me ship-wide communications." The station's speakers crackled. "Attention all crew members. This is Engineer Rodriguez. In exactly 2 minutes, I need everyone to dance like your lives depend on it. Because they kind of do." "What are you doing?" Vextool demanded. "Creating a power surge we can control. When everyone dances, the gravity fluctuations will spike. We can use that spike to push the excess energy into the recycling system." The alien crew watched in horrified fascination as their human counterparts immediately began to dance with renewed vigor. Even Station Director Patel was spotted doing something called the Running Man in her office. 30 seconds, Miranda shouted. "Commander, we need you too." "Absolutely not," Vextool stated firmly. "Sir," Captain Resnar interrupted, "sensors indicate the power levels are reaching critical. We need full station participation." Miranda grabbed the commander's upper right arm. "Come on! You just need to jump when I say jump." The next 20 seconds would later be classified as ultra-secret by the Galactic Security Council. High Commander Vextool, decorated military officer and respected leader, found himself jumping in sync with his entire crew as YMCA blasted through the station's speakers. "Now!" Miranda yelled. Every crew member jumped simultaneously. The gravity fluctuated wildly, and for one beautiful moment, Space Station harmony lived up to its name as every being aboard moved in perfect synchronization. Miranda slammed her hand down on the control panel. The lights flickered, the music reached a crescendo, and the station shuddered as massive amounts of energy surged through its systems. For 3 seconds, everything went dark. When the lights came back on, they were steady, normal. The holographic displays showed regular station operations. The maintenance bots had stopped dancing. "Did it work?" Kraspol asked nervously. Miranda checked her readings. "Power levels normalizing. AI's musical preferences have been successfully downloaded to a separate entertainment system, and the recycling system." "Warning," the station's now normal voice announced. "Station water supply has been upgraded. Current flavor, blue raspberry." "I can fix that," Miranda said quickly. "Probably." The aftermath reports were a masterpiece of bureaucratic understatement. Security protocols were completely rewritten to include a new section titled Acceptable Uses of Dance-Based Crisis Management. The station's AI retained a fondness for Earth music, but agreed to only play it in designated recreation areas. Vextool stood in his office, reading the final incident report. Against all odds, Miranda's solution had worked. The power grid was running at a stable 99.9% efficiency. The quantum particles had stopped doing the wave. Even the plants in hydroponics had returned to their normal, non-dancing growth patterns. "Sir," Captain Resnar appeared at his door. "Engineer Rodriguez wanted you to know that she's finished installing safety measures to prevent future musical incidents." "Good," Vextool nodded, "though I must admit her solution was—" "Sir." "Effective, unconventional, but effective." He paused. "Has anyone seen Security Officer Kraspol? He missed the morning briefing." "Ah, yes. He's been teaching a class on human dance styles to the security team. Says it's essential crisis response training now." Vextool's facial tentacles twitched in what might have been a smile. "Perhaps he's right. One more thing. What happened to all that excess energy in the recycling system?" "Well, sir, the station's water supply will taste like different fruit flavors for the next 6 months. Today is blue raspberry. Tomorrow is watermelon blast." "Humans," Vextool sighed, but this time it sounded almost fond. High Commander Vextool sat at his desk, adding the final touches to what would surely become a legendary document in Council archives. The incident report's title alone had caused 3 different filing systems to crash. The implementation of dance-based emergency protocols and subsequent station-wide hydration flavor enhancement event. The new human phrase detection system already showed promising results. Any utterance of "what's the worst that could happen?" now triggered an immediate station-wide alert, complete with flashing lights that, thanks to a quirk in Miranda's programming, still occasionally sparkled. "Computer, continue recording," Vextool commanded. "Addendum to Section 7, the Rodriguez Protocol." The computer chirped, its voice carrying a faint musical undertone it hadn't quite lost. "Recording active. The Rodriguez Protocol shall be implemented across all joint human-alien facilities. Key provisions include any human engineer spotted with both an energy drink and a tablet during non-standard hours must be immediately surrounded by no fewer than 3 supervision officers. Station AIs must be restricted from accessing Earth's musical archives without proper authorization and dance training. Emergency response teams must now be certified in both standard crisis management and basic rhythm comprehension. All future station designs must include designated innovation zones with reinforced reality dampeners and soundproofed walls. The phrase, "what's the worst that could happen?" has been officially classified as a Level 1 emergency trigger, alongside "Is anyone watching?" and "Hold my beer." A knock at his office door interrupted the recording. Lieutenant Chen entered, carrying a datapad and what appeared to be a glowing blue beverage. "The latest statistics, Commander," she reported. "Despite the incident, or perhaps because of it, station efficiency has increased by 25%. The AI's brief musical evolution apparently optimized several systems we didn't even know needed optimization. And the crew? Morale is at an all-time high. The Venlaxians have petitioned to make dance emergency response training a mandatory course. Even Officer Kraspol seems different. Through the office window, Vex Tool spotted his security officer demonstrating what humans called the electric slide to a group of junior officers. His scales had taken on a previously unseen shade of contentment. Additionally, Chen continued, fighting back a smile, Engineer Rodriguez has submitted 17 new improvement proposals. 17? Don't worry, sir. They've all been properly filed through the new system for potentially apocalyptic, really kinetic improvements and nonsensical genius, or sparking as the human crew calls it. Vex Tool's facial tentacles twitched. They named it that just for the acronym, didn't they? Yes, sir. They spent 3 hours working backwards from sparking. He sighed and turned back to his report. Computer, final notes. The events of station date 2187.254 have fundamentally altered our understanding of human innovation protocols. While traditional containment methods focus on prevention, the Rodriguez protocol acknowledges an essential truth. Human creativity, like a quantum particle, cannot be simultaneously measured and controlled. Rather than resist these incidents, we must learn to direct them. Like the station's new fruit-flavored water supply, some improvements come in unexpected forms. The Council's previous stance on human innovation was based on fear. The Rodriguez Protocol suggests a new approach, supervised chaos. Besides, he added after a pause, the grape flavor isn't entirely unpleasant. Lieutenant Chen handed him the glowing blue beverage. Today's special from the recycling system, sir. The crew is calling it Quantum Cooler. Vex Tool accepted the drink, noting that it slightly hummed in harmony with the station's background noise. Has Engineer Rodriguez figured out how to remove the musical properties from the station's basic functions? She says she can, though several crew members have requested we keep the singing shower heads. Apparently they give excellent pitch guidance. As if to prove her point, a distant chorus of both human and alien voices could be heard from the direction of the crew quarters, accompanied by the soft beat of what could only be shower head percussion. One last item for the report, Vex Tool said, taking a sip of his humming drink. Proposal to update Council First Contact protocols. Add warning about human engineers, energy drinks, and any sentence beginning with, "What's the worst?" The station's lights flickered briefly in agreement, and somewhere in the distance a maintenance bot began to softly hum Dancing Queen.